explained as we read that, Jesus said, listen, Moses, because of the hardness of your heart, give you a written bill of divorcement, but from the beginning it was not so. He who created them created both male and female. That's the other part of this. This discussion can take us into next year. I don't have to next year. Because again, seriously, then it gets into the new style stuff about what do you call it? Um, man marrying to man and women marrying to women and, LGBT and all that stuff. Listen, that's why God threw over Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay? Sister Patrick, you would understand. Even when Lot went down into Sodom, if you remember that, when God was about to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, he went to Abram and says, I am going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And Abram went before him and said, God, if you find 50 people there, will you destroy it? He said, no. He said, what if you find 40? You know, they say Jews are good handlers. In Jamaica, they use that word, higglers. Abraham got him down to 10. God said, no, I'm not going lower than 10. If you find 10 people there, I wouldn't destroy it. Because he knew there wasn't 10 there. And the night before he destroyed, he sent 2 angels. Angels! And they went to Lot's house to Lot's house to get him. And Lot even put out his 2 virgin daughters. They refused the daughters. They wanted man flesh. And you know the story, I think. Lot had to run for his life. Run for his life. Told the wife, don't look back. She did. She became a pillar of stone. But the daughters were saved. And what did they do? They said, we have to have sex with our father because we don't have any kinship to leave behind. So they caused them to get drunk, and the elder one went in first. And then the second sister went in the next thing. The boy child that was born of that relationship, his name was Moab. They named him Moab. Moab became the land from which Ruth, you may remember this, from which Ruth and Oprah came when Elimelech and Naomi went down from Judah because of the famine into Moab. Look at God. There was a famine in Judah. And he took out Elimelech, Mahlon, Chilon, which were the boys, and Naomi, and put them into Moab. Of all the places he was going to send them, he sent them into an incestuous land of Moab. You go ask God. God has something my mother used to say. When the neighbors would want to go and pitch marbles, and I said, Mommy, can I go? She said, no. And I said, well, my neighbors are going. Their mother said they're going to go. You know what she used to tell me? That's their prerogative. I didn't even know my mother knows words like that. That's their prerogative. When God exercises his prerogative, we just have to say, God, I thank you. You know, sometimes you see people holler and crying in services, you don't know why. They can break your heart with stuff that happened in their bedroom. They can break your heart with stuff that happened in their banking, in the treatment that they give to each other at the house. Therefore shall a man leave his mother and father and shall cleave to his wife. Wives are delicate. They got to be treated with love and compassion. And I tell people when they come to me, if you can't admire your wife, then you cannot admire God. Because she is made up just like the church. In the church, you can find satisfaction or you can find dysfunction. Take your pick.
Okay.
I hope it didn't make you sad.
One other question I have to ask you. On that note, Pastor, like what nurse practitioner Robert asked you, if there's an issue with they can't perform because of sexual dysfunction or whatever other reason, health condition, is oral sex okay?
There is no provision I've read in the scriptures about oral sex. However, I say this to you. I think oral sex could be a perversion based upon man's desire to stretch the natural use of women. So I point you to Romans chapter 1. If you read that carefully, read the whole thing, you will have a better understanding of the beauty of sexual relations. To provide what I call replenishment of the earth and enjoyment of each other, God gave man a specific tool, and then he gave woman a specific tool. I think of a vacuum cleaner. Now, a vacuum cleaner has a cord, but the socket for the cord to be plugged in is on the wall. If that plug is not going into that wall, the vacuum cleaner can't work. You understand me?
Yeah.
Ladies, you all never mind. You all look at her. I'm gonna have to come down and get the baptize that one over there. I am so sorry. I gotta run. It's 5 minutes, 6 minutes to 8 o'clock.
Okay.
I'm teaching. I'm teaching tonight. I'm teaching tonight. I'm gonna invite you to come into that program sometime. But I'm teaching tonight life in the spirit.
Okay.
There is therefore no condemnation to them which are in Christ Jesus. To them know who walk not after the flesh, but after the spirit. For the law of the spirit of life in Christ Jesus have made us free from the law of sin and death. For what the law could not do, and that it was weak, God sending forth his Son in the form of sinful flesh, and for sin condemns him in the flesh. Sin is in the flesh. Romans 6:23. The wages of sin,
Is that
gift of God, is eternal life.
We appreciate those words from you, Pastor Charles, and thank you for taking a time out. We all see that you have a busy schedule because you're running to another meeting right now. And be blessed. Continue to do the work that you are set on earth here to do. And we will talk again, okay?
Appreciate you much. God bless each and all of you are together. We'll talk
okay?
sometime.
Thank
All
you.
right. Take care.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Okay, guys, so I'll just take this time out to my audience. We do apologize for the technical difficulties we were experiencing earlier. Don't know what's going on, but here we are. I'm sure you can see us live now. So we're asking you in the meantime to share and like, comment if you feel like it based on our topic tonight. Once again, it's how important is sex in a relationship? And is it okay to have multiple partners? There you heard it from Pastor Hiram Charles. And I don't know if you share his views or not, but hey, let us know what you think. So now I'm going to ask our nurse practitioner and our producer artist to introduce themselves, starting with Glodine.
Hey, hi everyone. So I am Glow. I say Glow affectionately, and I have been a nurse, a critical care nurse for a long time, and then now I'm a nurse practitioner. So my take, my role tonight is to look at the medical aspect of the role of sex in our relationships. Continue or let DonMafia?
Go ahead.
Okay, so like the pastor said, when we get married, it's supposed to be the ideal husband, the ideal wife. But at the same time, sex is also an important part, as he says, or as the Bible says, rather, we should not refrain from, having sex with our partners, or the partner shouldn't either. However, I get the spiritual connection and the spiritual, teachings. But in the medical side and in the scientific side, sometimes there are a lot of issues that make sex, hard for couples, And like he said, just to touch on, especially for men, the big factor for men is a lot of men have erectile dysfunction. And surprisingly, erectile dysfunction, usually when we hear of it, we're thinking of older men in their 60s, but surprisingly, a lot of younger men in their 40s, even men in their 30s, are now having erectile dysfunction. And one of the big factors, or one of is that causes erectile dysfunction is one. I'm gonna go through a list of them. So smoking is one of the biggest one. I know a lot of men didn't know that, but smoking can cause it. Two, your diet can cause it. I was reading an article that say just sitting in front of the TV can cause it. I guess because you're not moving around a lot.
Wow.
One of the biggest things is diabetes. People with high blood pressure, depression, um, and those with high cholesterol. Those are the big factors for erectile dysfunction in men. So, of course, the whole package for men, it's erectile dysfunction. Then the other issue is premature ejaculation. So then some men can't get an erection. Then the other issue is they do get an erection, but they ejaculate quickly within 1 minute. And our culture and the the 1 minute guys, we have a big issue with that. And then the other issue too is not having any drive. You're just not interested in sex. So addressing the first one, like I said, the big thing to do to preserve your sexual health as a man is to be active, exercise, eat right, try and remain healthy. The healthier you are, a lot of times the better it is for you to function, well with sex. If you have high blood pressure, that's a big issue. And then the medications that they put you on sometimes cause the side effect for erectile dysfunction. Um, the other thing is stress. A lot of men are stressed because they got to take care of their families. They're tired from working hard. Some of the men go through midlife crisis, you know, and all of that adds up. And then, of course, a lot of men, there is a lack of testosterone, and that creates issues too with erectile dysfunction. So those are the biggest for men mostly, right? And then the last one is when they get older, a lot of men end up with prostate problems. So their prostate gets enlarged. Sometimes they end up having to do surgery to remove the prostate. And in removing the prostate, most times they're dysfunctional after that, once they remove that. Okay. So that's it for men. On women, on the other hand, oh my God, we have tons of issues. Similar to men, we have the big one is not being in the mood. A lot of women have low libido too. For different reasons. A lot of women have they can't orgasm. They can't enjoy sex. So if that's happening, the other issue too is body image. A lot of women feel like they're too fat, or they feel like they may have had cancer and they had to remove their breasts, so they feel disfigured. Some women suffer from polycystic ovarian syndrome, where they develop facial hair. So that's a big thing. A lot of them tend to carry a lot of fat in their belly or on their backs. So all these issues, help them to not feel desirable to a man. And then as women get older, as we hit, believe it or not, our late 40s or mid 40s, a lot of women start suffering from low estrogen levels, which is a big issue that makes sex undesirable for women, because estrogen is needed for, that excitement. It helps to lubricate the vagina for sex. So if your numbers are low, then the vagina becomes dry, and then sex is not as pleasurable. It's painful. A lot of times women end up with a lot of tears, and they get these little cuts, and then there's burning, and then they have to pee a lot and it burns. And so when you add all that to it, who wants to go through all of that just to please the man? So your faith has to be really strong, because it's hard for you to be going through this and then be submissive to your husband. I mean, it is hard, but I guess you can work, you can work to fix it. A lot of women have hysterectomies because of fibroids. Black women, especially, are suffering from fibroids at a higher rate than any other race. And they're saying that it's related to our diet, what we eat. Black women who perm their hair, like myself, there's some study that says perming the hair shows that they have higher levels of fibroids. Dyeing our hair, that's two for me. I gotta cover my grays over here. So we tend to have a lot more fibroids, and as a result of this, we tend to have heavier periods, more painful periods. Who's thinking of sex at that time? And then if you're having your period every 2 weeks, when are you going to have time for sex? You see what I'm saying? So those are other issues. So then when you have a hysterectomy and you're young, that's called that's like surgical menopause. So your whole body shuts down. You go into menopause early. So a woman could be in menopause in her 40s, in her 30s, if she had a hysterectomy based off fibroids. And so they go through the hot flashes, they go through all those issues, and so sex becomes undesirable, for a lot of women. So that's the other thing. As women get older too, they go through midlife issues. So a lot of times they end up having to take care of their elderly parents. And the parents have to live, probably come and share, their space. And so when you add that to the busy schedule with your husband, and then you care for your loved ones, it's, those are other hindrances. Midlife crisis has in having teenage kids, or you may have a husband who is going through the midlife crisis, as well as a husband who has erectile dysfunction too, things like that. Stress is our biggest turn off from sex. If you're stressed out, you're not thinking about sex. If you have history of depression, if you're anxious, if you feel there is not enough privacy in the bedroom, the big one that a lot of women don't talk about is sexual abuse. I can tell you, like, maybe 30% of the women in Jamaica have been sexually molested, assaulted at some point in their life, and they may not handle that very well. And they may not like sex because of that. And they may not some women don't tell their husbands about it. Some women don't want to talk about it. They hide it. That's one of the big issues. And endometriosis is another big one. These are women who have very, very heavy periods too. And they're having, like, sometimes 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, they're having heavy periods, severe periods, painful periods. So as usual, the women get the brunt of the stick with this sexual thing. So there is a lot to think about, when we're thinking about sex on a whole. So that's looking at it from the medical side.
Okay. So thank you for that. I have a question before I go over to Mr. DonMafia. So
Yeah.
okay, so we did ask Pastor, I did ask him that question about the oral sex, right? This question is for Glodine. You,
Mhm.
as a nurse and all of that, I mean, I'm just throwing it out again. Like, let's say, you have this talk about if they lose it in the waist, they gain it in the face. Right? So if one can't perform for whatever reason, as you related many different reasons, I mean, what are the alternatives, or what are some of the
Who? If the man can't perform, or the
all the
woman, or
women,
both of them?
both of them.
All right. So for women, women, they are all right. So if you're in your 40s and the issue is a low estrogen issue, there are estrogen creams and pessaries and things that you can use to help with that. If it's the men with erectile dysfunction, if they have, health insurance, or if they're wealthy, they can get what they call a penile implant. I know it's weird. I remember I had a patient and I saw that. I'm like, what the heck is that? But anyway, you can get a penile implant. I guess it works similarly. I don't know how it works. So that's one thing for the men. The other thing is the blue pill for the men. That's like a savior for a lot of men, which is Viagra, and they have other types of pill for sexual dysfunction. Now, the thing with erectile dysfunction and men is that the circulation, you need lots of circulation. They need a lot of blood to rush into the penis to cause an erection. The issue that they have is that they don't get that blood rushing down there, so they can't keep the erection. So these pills that are you can get, like the Viagra and so on, it causes dilation of the vessels in the penis so that the blood can rush to the area and they can have an erection. Of course, that I think some men have erections lasting for 45 minutes to an hour. I mean, if it lasts longer than that, you better go to the ER because you're gonna lose your thing. So there are side effects for that. And then especially with the blue pill, you can't take it with certain blood pressure medicines. So you always have to tell your provider, or when you go to the hospital, that yes, I'm taking Viagra, or I'm on Cialis or something. For women, so that's for men. For women too, there's a cream. Some women have low libido because their testosterone levels are low. There are tablets that you can take to help with that. Some women can go the surgical route. There is now a surgery. Of course, you have to have money for this. And if you are Hollywood minded, where they create what they call the G spot. I don't know how they do it, but they find a way to create the spot to create sexual arousal for the woman. So those are that's one factor. Childbirth for women is one of the biggest things that probably leads later on down to sexual dysfunction because of all the complication that can arise from giving birth vaginally, especially naturally. A lot of women end up with tears, and sometimes it affects their bladder, and then they go on to have prolapsed bladder. They go on to have urinary incontinence, like when they sneeze, they pee, or if they laugh too hard, then they pee. So there are exercises that women can do to help with that. They're called Kegel, some call it Kegel. They're Kegel exercises. It's like learning to tighten the vaginal walls by contracting and relaxing the bladder muscles. So some people say, like, if you're urinating, like while you're urinating during the stream, you can like tighten your muscles and then relax it. And you can do that, they want you to do it like maybe 20 times or as often as you can during the day, on your own.
While driving, nobody knows.
Right, exactly. So that some women says that helps, so those are methods that you can use. Oral sex, that's a preference for couples. If that's what they want to do, fine. But like the pastor said, if you're going to be on the spiritual side of it, remember, there's always spiritual warfare in your life. So if you're trying to say, I'm going to be spiritual and I'm not going to be of the flesh, you're right on the border where, you know, you, and like he said, it can lead into other perversions, because then now you're like, hey, that feels good, what next? Oh, let's try this. Oh, let's do this. Or, you know, so you have to be, like he said, you have to be sound spiritually to know what's okay for you and your husband, you know. But it's kind of hard, I guess, you know, to answer that question.
Okay, so let's say if you have a husband who you're married, I know that. So let's say your husband is unable to satisfy you sexually, because the topic is how important is sex. What would you do?
That won't be a problem with me one damn bit. But say that because I think as you get older, when you're younger, and when we're younger, sex, you know, and this is my personal, I don't know about anybody else, but when you're younger, you know, you're excited about sex, you want to know about sex, all of that. As I have gotten older, sex is not, it's the last thing on my plate right now, because I have so many other things doing. And two, I think as you grow with your partner, you realize that it's not about sex anymore. It's more about companionship and having that bond where, you know, you have a ride or die partner who is there for you, who's reliable, who you can, you know, rely on for support emotionally, you know, financially, whatever it is. Every couple has their thing, you know. So, you know, it's just what's going on in the couple's life and what they like and how they handle theirs. But for me, you know, companionship means more to me now than sex.
Well, some people would disagree because I was speaking to a male this week, and he was saying that he's at age 55 years right now, and the older men get, he was talking from men's perspective, they get like freakier, they get more excited. So I guess it all depends on, I don't know if,
How old is he?
yes. Oh yes, that's what he said to me, and I'm like, okay, you know, because I wanted to hear from different people, like different males, different females, what's their view as it relates to sex in a relationship, and that was his
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
view, you know. So with that being said, I'm gonna go over to our artist producer, Carl Uda, DonMafia. I want you to introduce yourself. We're doing it a little different today. Introduce yourself, and then I want you to answer that question as it relates to how important is sex in a relationship. As a man, what is your take on that?
Yeah, well, you know, I am a dancehall reggae artist, and you know, I'm in the streets. I'm a person who I've grown like in the streets, and I've been around people like in the ghetto and all over. And to say really, sex is very important in any relationship right now. But you know, listening to the nurse talking all those stuff, I was getting scared. It sounds so deep. I didn't know a lot of things that she said. I didn't even know that. It's crazy that that sex thing is bigger than I thought right now,
Mm-hmm.
because you know more time people just take sex for granted, like yo, I mean man this and man that, and just feel like yo, yeah, we have that luck. And at the same time when she started explain so many different obstacles that can come in the way and really change that person's life, it started to make you think like yo, in life, if you're making a commitment or you're trying to live a steady life with somebody, this coming like is just it's just another thing. Like it's a lot of hard work to keep a relationship right now. But you someone can start off really good and the sex is great, everything, and after a while it deteriorates. And then as I say now, you have to think responsible. You can't just jump up and just leave because of, because you have to stick with your partner, and that's serious. you have other things at stake, like your whole life. You put your things together, you in money together, you make plans together, you have a family. And because sex, you just go and mash up everything. So
Exactly.
and we have to start thinking to give and times and be careful what we do, because some the men make the women lose their desire to, because they don't know how to treat them. After a while, they start taking them for granted and start acting as if, yo, she's not. And then once you start doing that, you start straying out there, you start a lot of headache and a problem,
Yep.
and you don't talk to her. So the romance, love, everything is. Then she start becoming uncomfortable, and she don't feel like she belong anymore. So it's crazy. This is a big topic, and this is real life situation that is
Yeah.
affecting people on a daily basis. And a
Exactly.
lot of people out there don't even stop to think about these things, because you just live in your life and you feel like everything is okay. But what happens next year or next 2 years, the next 5 years? Because if I'm with somebody and they are genuine to me and I really love them, and at the end of the day, I see that something happen and they're not being able to do stuff like what we used to, it's up to me, person, to try and understand them and try to still be there and let them know that, yo, don't watch them because I'm still here for you. Because I can't just jump up and leave a person because of the ability or something might happen to them and they can't make you feel good. You have to learn to make the sacrifice to keep things in check, like just to keep life going, because that's the problem with most Jamaican men. They just feel as if once the sex is not right, yo, me just go find a girl down the road and me just go do anything I want. And that's what you do now, that end up amassing more. If you would just have the patience and just know how to cope little, maybe it could have work and come right around in your favor and you could have a happy marriage. But these people nowadays, all they want to do, if something is messed up, they rather to throw it away, try
Yeah.
and repair it. And that's why the people used to have those long relationships. Like when we were kids and we saw grandma and grandpa together 50 years and 60 years. They didn't that, but we as kids didn't know that. So we didn't know they went through, because people have problems, but they work, and then in the end you see them happy together at 85, and they're like, how did they do this? But it's a lot of patience and it takes real. That's why in life, a lot of men love women because of how they look and because the sex is hot. But you have to think beyond that, like, yo, am I gonna stick with her years down the line when she cannot perform, or when she looks different or what? So it does a man have to know that within back that, yo, women are not objects that you use for your pleasure and then throw them away. This is real life. You have to prepare your mind mentally. You have to be mature to handle that, because a lot of men, even though they're 60 years old, they're still mature. Uh, And immaturity is the greatest factor in that's destroying a lot of relationships, because most men, they
I
don't,
agree.
even though they reach up to certain age, they just feel like, oh, it's all about sex and girls and beer. You understand? More to life than that.
So you as an entertainer, because oh boy, the music, the cartel music, yeah. We know you
Bye.
don't come here to watch TV and ride bicycle and all these songs.
Bye.
So
You know,
I'm not here.
you're not hearing. Are
can
you
you
hearing now?
Mafia? Can you hear us?
I'm not here. What is it?
All right, you wanna go off and come back?
It's breaking up. I'm hearing about it. It's breaking up. I'm not clear.
So Glodian has the nurse practitioner. She has a question for you.
So I'm saying, in
Huh?
our in the entertainment world, you know, um, with our
I'm not
music,
properly.
you're
What's
not
going
hearing.
on? I was hearing good all along.
Okay, so this is hold on, Glodian. So DonMafia, if a call came into your phone, what can happen is that it may cause you to not hear, so you may have to log off and log back on.
No, I'm hearing now. I'm hearing now. You know.
There you go. Go ahead, Claudine.
No,
Back
I'm
back
saying,
on. You know. I heard that.
yeah. So no, I'm saying that
I want me
to
to come down. Like,
Now, can you hear us now again? Can you hear us now, DonMafia?
yeah.
Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm hearing.
okay. No, I was saying that
Where is it now? It's gone now. What? Huh?
no, I was saying in the entertainment in the
Just I
entertainment
hear and no
field.
I hear again. Why?
All right.
We can hear
This
you.
is
Can you hear?
crazy, man.
Did you move from where you were? Can you hear us now? No.
No. Yeah, I'm hearing now.
Okay, go ahead, Glody. We'll try this one more time.
Yeah. So I'm saying in the with the entertainment in the entertainment field with all the songs that
Yeah.
are out there, all the songs are sexually have a lot of sexual connotations about how women should perform and how men are performing and all these things. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes the Jamaican culture with Jamaican men where they portray themselves as these sexual um it's not goddess but they
Bedroom bullies.
bedroom bully and
Beast, yeah.
um so
Yeah.
we we have to think about the message that we send. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I like to listen to Cartel too, and oh boy, half of Cartel's music is sexually laced, you know so
Mhm.
there's a lot to
Yeah.
think about, and it puts us women into it's almost like it puts you in a position where a man will say, oh, she don't know what she's doing, so he's moving on to the next person because she don't know how to
Mhm.
You
you
don't have
know
any vibes.
cock
It's
it
like
up
a
on the left.
right.
Huh? You know what I'm saying?
Like the lady
So,
Yeah.
putting it up on the left and the right, right?
and the right, exactly. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so so how do you see what I'm saying? So our Jamaican culture is heavily laced with these sexual connotations all the time, you know
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you have to then, as you get older, think about your relationship and what is more important. Is sex more important than having a family? you know and then to bring back the
Mhm.
spiritual side of things, like as an adult now, when you think about when the Bible says not to have sex before marriage, it makes sense. Because think about it, in our sex-filled culture in Jamaica, where bedroom bully and girl have to fling it up and know how to jump and all that stuff. Now you're not married, right? And before marriage, I mean, and you go out and you have sex with one of these great sexual women who know how to fling it up, and then you meet a nice little church girl now. She's never had sex before. She don't know how to fling up nothing. And then you marry her, but then the complaint is she can't satisfy you at home you know, like girly on the street side. So then you have this problem because
Mhm.
now she can't do it like you have come to like. So then you're gonna end up with cheating. You
So
see you see what I'm saying?
how about teaching the
Mhm.
church girl though? How about teaching the church girl the styles? Tell her what you'd like, because come like one of our supporters is commenting on the live. It's all about patience, understanding, and communication. So a very valid
Yeah.
point, Claudine. If the church girl, because she's like so innocent to everything. Now, what about teaching her, sitting, talking to her, and probably buy sex books, because there are sex books that are sold out there. What about that? What do you think? Wouldn't that work?
Yes, it can work if the man is patient and is willing to say that to her, or she is willing to learn, you know so like the pastor said, again, you have to be equally yoked, which is true,
Come on.
because it makes sense. Now you see why it makes sense.
So,
Because what if
Well,
she's not
cause
learning?
cause if she
okay,
love you and you love her, right? Once you
right.
love her and she love you, it's just as I said, patience. The man have to be patient because You cannot use what you had before to judge this girl and act like, yo, if you don't do this, me not, yo, me I go left you and start bad her up and start threatening her. She go feel worse about herself. What you need to do as a man, love her and show her love and treat her good, and then once she feels special with you and you take time and explain the thing to her. That's the reason with her. You know, if you cuss her, make she feel out of place. Once you reason with her and everything, she go try her best to make you happy. You understand? But what happened to most men, they don't have no patience. So once they're not.
Are you there, DonMafia? Are you there, DonMafia? Could you repeat that?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah. So I was just saying, like, it's just patience, right? Just be patient with her. If you love her and you want to keep her, you have to be patient and try to cope with her and try to, tell her and teach her stuff and let you know what's up. She will work with you because you treat her nice and she feel at home with you, or if she feel like, yo, I'm comfortable with this man, she gonna work with you. But most men don't have no patience. They just feel like, yo, once a woman don't know the thing right away, you have to just done with her, and a different girl that come on, enough hot girl that road. And you see me, at the end of the day, that's what mashing up Jamaica, because the culture of the
Exactly.
people, they're so mad and hot-head. These people are just some hot-head people, and a lot of time they don't even care about real life. So even in the entertainment industry, you have to learn to know entertainment different from real life. Because if a man get up and DJ say he might go kill some people and this and that, you were here it afternoon that, yo, that is just for entertainment, like you're watching a bad show, and when you don't watch the show, you go back to your normal life. So if you're listening to music, it's like that is just music, you understand? But you have to know that real life is really different. You see me?
Right. So with that being said, DonMafia, here goes another question or another point from me. Okay, so you have those hothead men, not only Jamaica, but I'm sure across the Caribbean, across the world, because we don't know what goes on in other cultures. But
Mm-hmm.
the part about the multiple partners. Now, as we saw recently with the Jada Pinkett situation, um, what do you think about the multiple? And I understand you may have a different perspective, but we have audience here watching, and everybody has their different point of view. Their different outlook on sex and their sex life. So, but what's your take on having multiple partners and having sex, whether everybody agrees
Well,
or cheat in a cheating sense?
I think that for any relationship to work, it have to be like there's have to be some form of commitment or some loyalty. I believe in loyalty. So if I'm with a person and they treating me good and we living good and we're having a good life, I don't see the reason to go out there and try to get it complicated. And I'm not gonna sit back in my house and allow a man to come in and be with my wife or anything. That's crazy. How can I agree with that? Because I wasn't grown up that way. That's stupid. So people just experimenting and doing a lot of crazy stuff, but we don't have to follow that. We need to do the right thing, which is if there's someone in your life and you're happy with them, don't go the extra mile to hurt them and to hurt yourself. Sometimes you're just hurting yourself, or you ever hear a saying like want all, you lose all. You understand? So if a woman have a good man, she needs to just behave herself and just respect the man and respect herself too. And if a man have a good woman, him need to respect him woman and respect himself, because this is not little boy ideas when you want to have sex with 5, 6 women on the same road. This is big man thing. And if you do those things and you hurt the woman, she going to do back things to hurt you. And then there's no happiness in that, because then going to end up break up our war or everything mash up. So why not just be mature? Why not just be a big man about your life and just show respect? It's respect, that is the biggest thing in a relationship, respect, and just let a person feel like safe and secure, because security in a relationship is one of the main things. So don't have to go out there and follow people and just do a lot of crazy stuff. But yeah, I have to have 10 women or 12 women or 15 women. It doesn't make no sense, because at the end of the day, when you grow up all same way and when nothing there, are the same person where you roll with. I go there for hot liquor water for you and I take care of you. You understand?
Okay. That's why I said companionship at the end of the day is what really matters. You know how many when you get older and working in the healthcare field with the elderly people too, you see this. When you get older, it's not nice to be alone, especially when they lose their husband, or a husband loses his wife, so you get to the point
Yeah,
where companionship matters more than sex does
yeah.
after a while, you know?
I think that's very true, but a lot of people don't realize that now because true they are right and they just jump in from one end to the other and they're happy with that now. But it's a form of you have to in your mind you have to have that maturity that down the road. So if somebody is good to you and you are happy with them, try and nurture that and let it grow. You understand? If you even have problems, you work it out together. And you see most men they like to load up the woman and diss the woman in front of people and those things. Those things cause her to have some form of resentment towards her because you make she feel low and you disrespect her like you shame her, you put her down. And that is very bad. And a lot of men don't realize that then they start to the woman anyhow. Hey, I'm sorry, and them lead her away. That's not how it's supposed to be. If you have a problem, you sit down and you work it out as two mature people. You understand?
Well,
Exactly.
you did mention earlier, from the onset, Claudine, about like, or is it done mafia where you're attracted to the person. So, like Pastor did say before he had to go about knowing who you're getting in a relationship with, if you want to be with this person for better for worse or until death do us part. Now, do you think or believe, and this is for both Claudine and Don Mafia, uh, sexual attraction, sapiosexual, in other words, sexual attraction from the beginning, do you think that continues throughout? That could be a factor to continue loving that person, and intimately, so to speak?
Yes. As yes, you mean if you maintain, well, men on a whole tend to be attracted to the opposite sex based on what they see, physique and
But what
Mm-hmm.
about
facial features.
what
Hmm?
about the sapiosexual, the intelligence? Some men fall in love with
Oh, um, yeah, that's his question. Because
Huh?
women look for different things in a relationship from the get go versus men. Men I think go after the looks, the shape, and the reproductivity, the ability of the woman to bear him kids, and so on. But women tend to look at we look at, well, maybe the man's intellect. Is he educated? Sometimes we look at, what kind of job does he have? You know, we look for things like, does he treat you like a woman? I know I'm old fashioned, so I like the whole pull the chair out thing, close the door thing. I still like that. So, it's different. So maybe Don can tell us what he looks for in a woman, or what attracts him to a woman.
sex, right?
All right. Well, if me meet a person right now, right, and if me I look woman, me see she too. What I don't like is she's too easy. That's a turn off.
So
Like
what is too easy? So
me
would you?
just meet you and me can just get you like that. No matter how pretty you be, me still feel say me not go far with her. You
So
understand?
what if you have sex on the
Cause
first date? Are
Right.
you gonna marry her?
Good
you're
question.
mad.
Why
So,
not?
right. Because
Yeah,
I've heard
because me I think
I've heard about relationships that last, that the sex happened on the
The
first time.
first date. So what's wrong with that?
oh because in my mind now you always feel like suppose she meet somebody else that she like and then it will happen for the
No,
same date one
but it's not about
you
meeting the
have to
next
think
person. The goal is
you she
your
like.
girl, but the goal is for
Well, I mean
you
I
to
know
conquer the girl.
that That is very hard because once she comes so easy, them say easy come, easy go, you know. You understand?
But you're not giving her a
So
chance.
me not trust her because yeah, but me no want give her a chance and then me lose, you know. So here what now. Me I think twice, you know, and I say, just like how me win it so easy. I saw a next man we gonna win that. Me not in it, me I go afraid little.
So that was
But if it take too long to me still gone about my business card.
Exactly.
No, if she take too long and I play too hard, you know.
What's
Go on, left her, you know. I tell you, you know, me not hit you know, because guess what? Eh?
some
So
question?
what's the right timeline
What's the
for
right?
sex?
Yes.
When you
Well, the right timeline differs, right? But it's about the chemistry. So you can meet somebody and you and them talk, but them not move too fast, but them not move too slow. Because I have some girl, you know, them really definitely act like, yo, if a girl act like she not in a nothing with me, me not go itch up around her and I try to get her, like. But if she give me a little signs, like, you know, if me bring her out and me drop her off and she give me a one kiss and me say, blow down skirt, me kiss her. Remember saying that I first thing that me I look on, you have someone who said they no kiss woman, you know. But when we are youth I grow, at that when we say I first thing that for make when we say she like me. See? So if me a Japan woman, me say she hug me up and give me a kiss. That means something is there to work for her because she has show me a sign say she interested too. And if me see she
but
call me and she
but what
text
if
me
she
and
just
me and
kissing
her
you
link
to
and me
get
she say
some
she
money?
interested. You see me?
So
Very
what
good
if
question.
but what if she just kissing you and
Eh?
leading you on to get some money?
Right. What is she just trying to nice you up with a kiss just to get your material stuff like money? Because you know, especially a lot of these young girls, older ones too, who are desperate.
Especially like DonMafia is an
So
entertainer, you know.
yeah.
What about
They
that?
want tear. No, but through me growing on the street, you know. Them have a saying say head. Understand? Someone is trying to call me. Can't talk now. Them have a thing named head crook, buck up in a head crook. So I'm not stupid. If I meet a girl and I see that she's just after money or stuff, because I don't like that. That turn me off fully, you know, because once you start letting me think like, yo, this is all about money. Me start 3 years and I say, I'm done with you, guy. You can't hear me so. Just allow me, just treat me nice. And when you treat me nice, allow me to care about you. And once we care about you, my money and everything are your own, girl. You don't have to worry about no money or nothing because me now gonna love you and mean to you, you know. And here I'm stay now. I prefer like me start buy you some nice stuff and me buy you a present or me buy you a gift or me don't like just meet woman and just take up beer money and give them like I buy them love.
Right.
So me now just meet a girl right now and I take up 20,000 and 30,000. He baby put that there. After me not pop sure. Me have to watch her and see where she depend.
But
I
you
say if
probably
she
want to
mean
put up your headspace too, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
eh?
You want to
And
probably
if
Okay.
you know the other thing, you the other thing. You say if me notice that she mean to, me nah give her nothing. Me done with her because me not like mean woman, you know. Because you have some woman them mean like why, you know. No matter what you give them can't give you nothing, you know. You see girl where you have a girl and you give her something, you know, or a money or something like you said. All right, you put something in her pocket then, and she go out there and she go buy 2 underpants for you, I go buy a socks for you, I go buy a slipper. That the girl you know you need to give her everything because she go look out for you. You have some girl, you know, no matter how much money you give them can't buy you one marina, you know, because them have so many other things to do, you know. And then you can't trust them with money because them not love you. Because if a person love you, you know, normally from them have something they want to share it with you, right? And you have some girl that them get money, them want to check their family, them and my sister they don't want to listen on baby and me here for 10,000 when you look the money done by daylight and you don't get not even one drinks. You see me? So that's some man for know to and stop going like them an idiot. And then again you have some man when they meet that woman where they rate now, then stop take care of themselves because them feel to say them have to just give woman everything and then them now become a big idiot and the woman nobody like them again because when she meet you, she like you because you look nice or you're a nice person. Or, you know what you start get too in your feelings now. You start watch every move she make now. You start worry about her she dep on WhatsApp every time they phone you cock up your head. You're coming like you become a punk because you lose your kingship because every woman
Let
in
me
is a king
let,
them want in their life.
let me
You see?
ask you something.
like
DonMafia.
mafia, where the woman would do the
Yeah.
same Exactly. It happens on both sides where the woman would do the same thing what you just described, getting clingy and all of that. And sometimes it's not even clingy, it's just a trusting because even we're talking about the whole sex thing. Trust is
Mm-hmm.
something that has to be there as well as respect, the biggest one, like you did, communication, patience. Now, one of our audience says that it's called financial ship, what you were explaining. And before that, where we were asking you what's the medium point where you would want to be with a woman, you said if they're too easy or too hard to get, you are not going to bother. But someone says there's no right or wrong timeline per se. So,
All right. The timeline, right? It depends on how often you see the person, all right, you know? Because I can meet a woman now, you know, and by weekend, me and her, by next week, me and her sleep, and me know, say, all right, I'm a woman, this not bad. It depends if me talk to her every day and me dep on the case like matlock. But suppose me never really see her, like me see her today, and by tomorrow, me go check her, and she just allow me to do everything to her. So me
Let
just
me
say, what
let me
kind of
ask
woman?
you something.
But
Let me ask something, Don. Not to interfere.
yeah.
When can you tell by just meeting a woman if she's gonna be a wife material or your girl, a
good
long term
question.
girlfriend?
I was about to ask that. Very good question, Glody.
All right. You see, yeah, I think so because you will just meet her and certain attitude where she display, you start looking to it and say, yo, you know, and she, you know, I don't like her like to no great extent, but she look good. So, you know, some man think, you know, man, we are prayer see when I say, yo, I love how she looking, but from you see her, you know, say, boy, you don't lose as that still. You can't. But at the same time, now, you will meet an Mexico and just the way she reason and the attitude that she have in your heart as a man, you start prayer and I say, you know, a good girl that because you know I saw life go. But if you see she display certain behavior, right, that way, and the way how she talk and she beg you, so I beg you 1,000 and pray and she just go on, so you know, someone say, yo, I don't like how she moving, you know, I don't want she to be my woman, you know, but she look good still, I mean, that take peace still, you know. You understand? Some man think, you know, because man, I think all kind of way, you know, because man desire is to conquer, you know. You see, man born to conquer, like at all times, a man I think to conquer woman.
Just
So
like
if you go somewhere and meet a pretty, yeah, like animal, man coming like an animal. That's why being man say old dog and them always compare man to. You know, when I say some different animal because when a man meet a woman, you know, it's a million things that go through his head one time. He might look on her shape, he might look on her looks, he might listen how she talk. If she chat bad, he start criticize that right away.
so
So
that
when she
might
chat something,
I got a question on along that line. Just before I ask you the question, one of our commenters or viewers said sex is a beautiful thing, but there is more to life than sex. Find ways to enjoy each other without going crazy. But my thing though is they when the man and woman, like, okay, they're together, like, okay, what keeps that momentum, that sexual momentum in the relationship?
well, I think it's just it's the chemistry. If the chemistry not right, nothing not gonna work. Because you will just meet a girl and just sex is not all that matters. Because you and I, the sex great and everything, but when you dress up and go a road, we're not happy together. You run some jokes, she laugh with you. You and I can chat people business. Because that man really want, you know, man want one woman where they can chat everybody with and everything, you know. Cause you have some girl with just going like them tush. Like them, you know, some girl will go on like them can't them, I don't know. Like them a robot or something. Yeah, go
You're cutting out, DonMafia. Are you still there?
no man not gonna stay with no boring no man. Then what kind of woman that? All she good for other sex alone. What kind of woman that? Me no want a woman where just good for sex alone. Want a woman where we can chat and laugh and go together and enjoy ourselves. And if we end up in a one party, cause you no, she can be a good woman and she end up in a one party, she still a back it up on me, you know, and me and her hug up and kiss up and go and we are gonna make
True,
love.
true.
And
That's true.
tomorrow we wake up and she dress up and gone. Some girl now feel say, through them decent. They can't wine for them man. They can't have no fun with them man otherwise. I just in a bed alone. That not gonna work.
Not gonna work. Not gonna
And you just in the house and you all up yourself and feel like say, man come in, you have to sex you up and put on one little pretty sitting and like when the man think boy you in heart I jump out and chest. Cause enough that man in a traffic and all the woman text them. A man want road left all car in a traffic to reach home to the woman because of the text where you send. So if you're not rude, a woman have to have that rudeness about her to keep the man interested. And what you call it, naughty. Like you have to be naughty. And the man have to have that too. Because you can't say true, a man, you can't say true, you are a man, I am a woman, don't love you. You're the on the road all day, you're not even send her one like a text, you know, do nothing. You have to say something sexy to a woman too. If you're in a house and the woman a cook, you have to go in the kitchen, go kiss up your woman, like hug him up and whisper sitting in her ears to her say, behave later. And when she start think her heart start jump out her chest, you come into a woman, you buy one chocolate carry woman, buy 2 panty, buy one rose, do something sexy, make the woman feel special. Because no matter what else you go through, if you not keep her feeling special, if both of them not keep each other feeling special and sexy, then the relationship have to mash up because I think get boring and stupid. You see me?
Right.
So that's true. You can do foreplay throughout the day, like they said, like like you said, wait till I get home. Little playful texts to your husband, to keep the momentum and keep the mood flowing, because
you have someone. Some man I look helper. You see some man a helper them a look in a house. Woman for just do everything in a house and feel like say, yo, mama have to take care of that. Man have to get up and cook to man and make breakfast for your woman too. Get up and help her clean the house to man. Say, baby, me I go clean up the place today. Don't have a woman in the house and make you feel like say, boy, you wanna go do everything, call me a man in her rear and when you look at left her and then she does her work every day. It's like a helper. You look, me don't want to help her. I want a woman where me and her can plan together. And if me feel to cook to them, me cook for her. And if she cook, me go help her too.
Right, because and them things keep the sex life, like it's may relating to sex, guys. And this is for our audience. I'm sure you understand, most of you understand what we're trying to explain here. And DonMafia, kudos to you. Very excellent points coming from a male person.
Yes.
And as Glodine said, it's like you're up in my head, Glodine. Please get out of my head, because I was just gonna say the foreplay. And as you mentioned, foreplay being playful text messages while you're apart. But here what? Sometimes you may be in the house together and you're texting each other in the house. Are on the phone. And
yes.
Where your partner is probably at work or wherever, and while you're on the phone talking to him, you're texting him at the same time. I don't know if women know about these stuff. Like, I don't know what is. And the next thing, one of our audience says love. She did mention playfulness, like we're all discussing, and affection. All those bring intimacy. It is important as love making. Now, one question I'm going to throw at you, Glodine and DonMafia, starting with you, Glodine. Is there a difference with love making and sex?
No.
Oh boy. That's a big pause, but yes, there can be a difference. So if you're married and you're in a loving, committed relationship, I would, I would associate that with love making, being there with your partner, caring about him. Sex is probably just for your own personal satisfaction, outside of a marriage or, outside of a relationship. It's probably just, a selfish, thing for satisfying yourself. With lovemaking, I think it's satisfying your partner, primarily. And yourself, and you end up getting this satisfaction. But sex can be just, just a little hit here with somebody who you don't even care about that much, who you don't want to see it, you may never see again, that kind of thing.
Yeah. But all right. And you see, even in a relationship, we have sometimes you have to you have a whole moment put one quick on her to, make sure you know that, want you, you know. Cause that with the man them. Some man now house have you that you they have the woman them a pet them up like a egg them a go mash. More than woman them no want that too. Them love them
A
pet
little
up
rough
still, you
play,
know.
a
But
little rough play.
more
Tear off the panty, just rip it off. Yeah.
yeah, more than half a gear. More than half a gear or something like that. Make she feel, you know where that she say you want her. Like she feel secure. She say, oh, blow that skirt, man, I did over me as you come in from road. So you can't let her go. And when you look sitting hot man, you hear me, I want quickie or you know, say you're ready to go out and she put on something and she look good and you have
But
to
then
clear your
again,
man. You see me?
that's true.
A
Then
woman have
again, which is why you have to be, like he said, the two of you have to be equally yoked. Because if you are hypersexual and you want sex all the time and the wife doesn't want it all the time, then you could end up with problems there too. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
but are you I got but listen up. Are you I gonna make
We're
you
talking
see
about
where you treat her.
right?
hmm?
About a
Well, you see you
nymphomania, right? Is that what you classify someone who loves a lot?
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
you don't have to be a you don't have to be a
A nympho?
nymphomania. But you see the way you treat her, you see the way you treat her, that I gonna make she always want you and agree with you, you know, because at that I tell you again, it go back to the treatment, the
So,
love where you show her and how she love you. So it become exciting to her too. You understand? But if you just go see her when you want to have sex, then she no must know say you're an idiot man, what kind of man you be.
all right, and she's
You
gonna
have
love
to tell your woman some
Mhm.
whole heap of nice things.
you. That is
Yeah,
true.
and
True. Yeah, yeah.
if you just want if you just nice her up when you want sex, then the woman not gonna lock shop on you. But if you treat her so good and so nice that she feels so nice about herself, are the happiest thing that you know. Because once you have a happy wife, your life happy, you know. Happy wife make a happy life, you know. So
Mhm.
you have to know say your wife is not about sex alone, boy. Your wife is your life partner, your partner. This you have to
Exactly.
treat her good and make she feel special about herself.
So let me ask you, Don Mafia, serious question.
Go ahead, Flo.
Oh, he got cut. Oh, I'm just saying. So, what if you're in a relationship and something happens and your wife can't have sex anymore? What happens now?
What would you do? Yeah.
What would you do?
The way me love her, you see, if I'm love her right way, me not let her see me, you know.
Yeah, but what are you
Me
gonna do?
hold it for her.
What? Okay, you're
No,
not
Would
willing.
you cheat? Would you go outside to
no.
seek
You know
sexual?
me I go do? Me I go take care of her.
How?
Me tell you something. You say me love her right way, eh? I mean know say a good woman, I mean know say when everything alright, she make me happy. When I look for nobody, you know, I keep myself to myself and say, me I take care of my wife because she a good woman. And she's not that woman where ignore me
Okay.
and make me feel no way when she did alright. So you can't you can't just run left far now. Because if you run left far now, yo, them things that will backfire upon you too. You understand? Because you will run gone to somebody else and at the same time that the person they run gone left you too. When nothing reach you. I
Okay.
believe that them things in
Okay.
life, cause karma is real, you know. You understand?
So,
Okay.
I have a
Okay.
So
question.
prior you used to treat me and you used to live good and everything and we have a good relationship and something happen and me say something really happen. Baby, I hear me? Me I go take care of you. Me I go treat you good and me I go dead for you because my you worth more than sex to me, girl. And that me believe in.
Awesome. So, we
Okay.
have an audience here calling in. Stacy Ann. Can you give us any experience as it relates to the importance of sex in a relationship? And then when we finish hearing from Stacy and one of our audience, I'm gonna flick over onto the multiple partners side for a little bit. So Stacy, and will you go ahead and give us any life experience as it relates to the importance of sex in a relationship, or anybody you know that would have anything to say about that?
Hello, good night.
Good
Hi.
night. How
All
you
right,
doing?
all right. Yes, where Don Mafia was talking about if his partner can't have sex anymore, what will happen? I just remember this experience with one of my girlfriend, married. Her husband firearm went off and shot him twice in his groin. So, that would almost affect, that the whole spark right there. But what happened was this. She did not went up because they couldn't have sexual intercourse for a long time. And one of the things that she did as a wife was to take care of him. They did creative things together, because this is what she told me, She said what she did was to send away the children and they book a room down in Ocherios, and she went there and she caressed her husband. And they caressed each other, no form of penetration. They made love to each other without the penetration. And she said it was a different kind of feeling. It's like it moved the relationship up about 10 notch.
Of course.
The respect and love that they had for each other. Are you hearing me? You still hearing me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The other thing is, I think when you have mutual respect for each other, the sex goes a long way. Because one of the things is, from my experience, having not yet married, but what I've experienced before is when you're in a relationship with a man and he's not treating you good as a woman, everything is going to dry up. When I say everything, everything is going to dry up. No juice not going to flow, and there is no form of, it's not like it's a medical deformity or malfunction. Once you're not being treated properly as a woman, it hit the brain, it hit something in the brain there. Listen, nothing is going to happen. There's no desire, no juice. So, but when you are treating that woman good, let me tell you something. It doesn't matter if she have fibroids. It doesn't matter if this is happening. Listen, juices will start to flow. Bone will connect to bone. Sinews start to come up. Juices will start to flow. You don't have to use any kind of lubrication or anything. Just treat that woman right. Another thing, I know of this Professor Dunbar. I don't know if persons you can Google her, but I remember they call her Professor Sex. One of the things she says is that when she's going out to minister, and if her husband said to her, say, boy, baby, I want you right now, and she's going through the door with Bible and everything in hand. And him said, baby, I want you right now, She said she just closed back the door and go in and just take off her clothes and get down to business. And when she finished, she put back herself together and go to church and do the ministry. Yeah, man. Yeah, so that is one of the things. Right? So listen, sex in a relationship is very important. And I think with only one person, because when you have multiple partners, it tires the body. Because if you notice, even when you and your partner, they're going on, after a while, yeah, man, you feel tired, man. Somebody drop asleep before somebody. Imagine now you have multiple partners. So Saturday night with Jackie, Tuesday and you're just going on and on. After a while, it's going to take a toll on your body. So no amount of blending up a okra and raw peanut and oats and guineas, it's not going to bring it back. No. Once you drink all of those and have your one partner, man, both of you will start growing sturdy and strong and fat. And it is really key for both of you. And love each other. And love each other. And go ahead.
No, and I was reading an article, or not an article, but I saw something that says that when you have multiple sex partners, it's like you're attracting all their spirits onto you. So all your
Demons,
energy.
everything,
Yes, yes.
everything,
So you
everything.
exactly. So whatever they're going through, you're attracting that energy into your whole life, into your soul. 'Cause especially for women, sex is such a personal thing. It's inside your body. You know, a man, it's
Yes,
different. It's a different thing. But for us, you know, if you have 100 men, it's oh my gosh, the psychological impact from that is, you know, not to knock on you know, women who are sex workers. I mean, if you ever talk to one of them, the psychological impact of doing that, it's I don't even think they recover from that in their lifetime. You know, it's a
Oh,
no,
numbing.
they have to. No,
Yeah.
no, they have to get. No, they have to get personal deliverance from it, because one of the things that you said about spirit, this is all spiritual now. All
Yeah.
right, so you are together with this guy, right? All right, this guy, you don't know how many partners he had
Right.
before, and then those partners had partners before, and
Before.
all of those demons come on you.
Yep.
Everything
yeah.
comes down on you. So guess what happened now? When those demons come on you, guess what's gonna happen now? Your finances are going to go down. You're gone into promiscuity. You're gone into all type of something. Your schoolwork get affected. Your
Mhm.
marriage get affected. Everything is like it's going downhill, and you're wondering to yourself. So, like a person that's in prostitute, it's a demon that has been launched on that person, so they can't stop doing it. And the only way for them to stop doing it,
True.
you have to have a make up mind to say, God, I have to get this out of my life. And I'm going to tell you another thing too, and it might be shocking to you. Some little children have been exposed to sex by probably a pastor, an older person. This is what it does
Mm-hmm.
to the child. It brings on sexual demons, promiscuity, and all of that. And then, if it is not dealt with, guess what happens? It leads into prostitution, it leads into this, and it leads into that. I am
It
not even
leads
going
to
to say
true.
anything more about it, because, but it is really deep. It is deep, and I might get a lash. Yes, yeah, Satan might come at me tonight, no, but guess what? I'm ready for the warfare, because it has to be
Yeah.
told. It
It's
has to
true.
be
It's
told
true.
out there. It has to be told, because, ah, Jesus. Listen, sometimes when we see some of our little girls or little boys behaving in a certain way, if you really check back, if you really go back, they were molested. And some of
True.
them lips are sealed and they can't talk. Some persons have died without talking. Some persons are living even now
Mm-hmm.
and hurting.
Mhm.
They can't talk. So
Oh,
one of the things is, a woman or a man might get married and was molested, and they can't even talk about it. And they go
both.
into that
Mhm.
marriage not
Yeah.
being delivered of that hurt. Guess what happened?
It
Mm-hmm.
There
affects
is
the
going
sex
to
life.
be it is going to affect it greatly. It
Wow.
is going to affect it very greatly.
Exactly.
So we
Oh.
have, we really need to get out there to educate person, because I don't think persons are really so much educated about sex. But
No.
how some persons listen, this topic here is very deep, because it goes far and wide. It has a lot of multiple parts on
Partners.
it.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
just not right here. So it's not just with the one, it goes on to the multiple, and why the multiple comes on. Because sometimes persons are doing things, they really don't know why they're doing it, but they're just doing it.
Right, right.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. To
And
kill,
if you
to hide
understand what
something.
I mean,
So Stacy, and would you say
yeah.
it's a great topic that we're doing to put the across to the world at large, that it's being shunned and slide under the carpet a lot, even in churches. Do you think this is something that
Oh
pastors
yes.
speak about in the churches as well?
Sure.
My dear Cleo, when you say churches, I'm going to talk. I was there, experience. So it is very big. So listen, let me tell you something.
Uh,
Everything you hear them talking about, oh, pastor, they arresting pastor for this and arresting pastor for that and everything. It's not just today, but the good Lord that we serve, he said there's going to come a time when everything will be exposed. Exposure time now. It has been going on for years. And guess what happened? A lot of church people know what is happening. The child's parents may
Don't
know what is
talk.
happening, but because there's a little money in it. I rest my case.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I have Sarah and Megan on as audience calling. I'm gonna ask Sarah if you could unmute and tell us what your experience as it relates to our topic tonight. How important is sex in a relationship, and if it's okay to have multiple partners. Sarah and Megan, I'm throwing it out to you two, audience. You can unmute and say your piece, please.
Good night, everyone. How is everyone doing? This is Megan. Hi, DonMafia. Hi, Miss Claudine and
Hi.
Queen. Well, for me, I'm disabled, and my husband left me, divorced me on my sick bed. So on that, I don't. If someone's trying to talk to me, I don't give them the opportunity because I feel that they don't, because of what my husband did to me, I feel that they might do the same thing. So I just don't deal with nobody. I just stay by myself.
Wow.
How does that affect you though? How are you dealing with that?
It makes me feel like I wasn't loved. I'm not wanted. Being in a wheelchair, I was not like this. I had a surgery and it damaged my nerves. So I was walking everything, but now once I got sick, it was like he don't bother want me no more.
I'm so sorry.
Wow. Sorry to hear about that.
I'm
You
sorry
know.
about that.
Well, see, I mean, we were ranting on the other side of the fence, and here goes an audience who has the opposite experience, where DonMafia was explaining earlier that he would still love his wife or
Yeah.
but here Megan was not fortunate. Her husband left her. How cruel was it? Wow. Like she said, obviously he didn't love her. He just probably didn't know how to deal with it as well. So, Glodine, from your nurse practitioner standpoint, how what strategies do you have from a medical standpoint where coping strategies for, because I mean that husband probably didn't know how to cope with it, so he just ran, as well as he probably didn't love her to an extent. So
Um, I'll tell you this: being a caregiver is not. It's a very very challenging job. You know. Um, and like you said, you have to be in a relationship where you're grounded, that you can overlook a lot of things. Um, what if you have to be able to overlook? What if the person was scarred facially, like they have a facial scar? Are you still gonna love them that way? If they lose a limb, can you handle that? The same thing with erectile dysfunction. um it's a very hard and challenging job, like I said. The big thing is counseling. I find the Black community, we don't like to go to counseling. We don't like to, once you say I'm going, they look at you like, oh, you crazy, you going to a psychiatrist or a psychologist. But sometimes just going to counseling and therapy and just talking about how you feel, talking about, you know different issues, sometimes that helps a lot of people. It helps to keep them stable. It just kind of gives them that hope that, you know, somebody is listening to them, somebody is encouraging them. So I find therapy would be a good step to help anybody who, you know, is going through any form of either sexual dysfunction, marital issues, whatever it is. Therapy is usually a good way to go.
Awesome. So did you hear that, Megan? And I have a question for you, Megan. The fact that you said it makes you feel afraid to go into another relationship, has that affected your sexual drive? Like you getting horny, so to speak?
Well, I do, but I take care of myself.
So you're
Okay.
saying you masturbate. Is that what you're saying? Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Daniel.
that's also a method of coping, because you are being realistic about, you know, what's going on with you, which is natural. You know, I know the church people will
Um,
frown on that, but it's, you know,
Megan?
that's healthy.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, Megan?
Yes. I'm here.
Yeah, Megan. Yes, I'm really sorry for what has happened to you, right? With your
Yes, ma'am.
husband. However, I am just thinking that, guess what? Because when you love somebody, it doesn't matter what is happening, you will stay with them, and it will help with the healing process.
Yeah.
The other thing is now, Megan, I hear you say you help yourself. I just want you to really be careful, because listen, there is still love out there for you. There is someone out there for you. So please don't put yourself on the doggy bag that you are going to that you're thrown away or whatsoever. Okay? In your time of healing, I don't know if you know God, you have to just
Yes, I
know him
do.
for yourself. Listen, so I don't even know what I'm just thinking one way when you said you're helping yourself, and I'm saying no, this helps self. I don't want you to go down the wrong path, because now you're in the healing process. Because one of the things I've always tell people that, listen, God always allow things to happen for you to see people. And this was one of the things that happened to you for you to see the man that you marry. Okay?
Yes.
It's no fault of yours or anything. Everything that happened, God knows about it. So what I want you to do is to go to him. Ask him to help you in that healing process. And that person that he has desired for you will come to you and help you along the way. And if persons come, no, I don't say you must just go jump off with them, you know. But ask him to send you the right person and let you know that this is the person. Okay? And
Okay.
I don't want you to go helping yourself, because when you go helping yourself, that's a different thing that you're bringing onto yourself, and you don't want that. Okay? I know it's
Okay.
hard. Okay, darling.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
You're welcome.
thank you for sharing your experience, Megan. It takes a lot and boldness of one to, you know, share an experience as such. And we hope that, you know, things will get better. You'll find love again, you know, where you can continue to enjoy your sex life, so to speak.
Yes.
So Vanille, it is uplifting and inspiring. What is your take? You've been here a little while. We want to hear from you.
Sex in a relationship is very important, especially if you have that emotional connection. You know, that is the most important thing, because if you don't have that emotional connection, it's not even sex, you know? And
Would you say that love making is different from sex? We asked that question earlier.
yes, it is.
Okay.
And why I say that is that, there has to be some foreplay before you actually go into intercourse. There has to be some form of intimacy that leads to, that the sex,
The actual.
right? The actual act, and intimacy doesn't necessarily has to be, kissing, or intimacy can start like the morning before, the morning of, you know, and I
Yeah.
don't believe in multiple partners.
So, I mean, in my line of study, I've seen a lot of older women. I'm talking about 90, 95 years old in some of the nursing homes, and they are so sexually aroused. Like, do you think that a man and a woman age makes a difference?
In terms of what?
Getting sexually aroused and continuing the sex life. Like, some people may say that, oh, because I'm a certain age, I don't need to have sex. So do you think age is a factor as it relates to?
Yeah, it is a factor. I find that men will have a stronger sex drive even as they age. So and I did the research on that today. So you'll find that men in their between I think 66 and 79, they're saying a lot of them are still very sexually active. I remember there was a case. There's this what they call an exclusive community for these wealthy um elderly people in Florida, and all they do is they drive around in golf carts every day. They play golf, they go out to eat, they're just living a fabulous life. And there's the rate of sexually transmitted disease, I think it was genital herpes, was like rampant in that area. And to be honest, when I first heard of it, I'm like, what? These people are in their, we're talking 70s, 80s, up to 90s, and they were testing positive for HIV and genital herpes because I think in our mind, we think that the older people get that sex is non-existent, but it is still a lot of older women and men and women enjoy sex still even later on in life. But the studies show that men tend to be more sexually active as they are older than women the same age would
Awesome.
as you get older.
Vanille and DonMafia, the same question. And Vanille, you go next, and then DonMafia.
I say have sex until you die.
Go girl.
Sex is good for headache, it's good for tension, it gives you energy. Sex is just great.
It keeps you not getting fat, all of that, right?
And it keeps you young and fit.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what
It's the
about you,
gym.
Mafia?
As long as you can manage it, just go and do your thing,
So do you think,
Because
go ahead.
it's if you can manage it, then do it. Because you're still living your life, right?
What about you?
Eh?
What about you? Do you think when you get older you would still have a sex drive or not?
Oh, you mean them and I want to kiss up my wife when me 85, see me, because at that happiness, that are gonna make you happy, right? Because you are gonna still love who you love and you are gonna enjoy life, say, all right. And if you really gonna mash up, we are gonna hug up and dead together with them business. So right now, I just live your happy, live your life to the fullest. So once you're 80 and you still get it up, do your thing. You see me? No, no limit, not upon it. But if you
And if,
can't get it up, then
if you
you're bad
can't
luck.
get it up, there's always the blue pill.
But then the blue pill, like Glodine, we have a nurse practitioner on here just to say it for our audience who just joined us, nurse practitioner Robert, and we have a producer artist from Jamaica, Don Mafia, and we have a few call-ins with us as well. So again, welcome to those who just joined us on this lovely topic. how important is sex in a relationship, and if it's okay to have multiple partners. So I'm just reading the comments here, and one of the comments, one of our viewers said, one of our viewers' take was that based on the question that I just asked about love making and sex, she's saying love making is different from sex. Anyone can have sex. Love making is intimacy, where two people in love can explore each other in a real deep connection. Intimacy is so beautiful. So I'm sure she is enjoying her intimacy, or whenever that time comes, that's what she would. And we have it from one of our viewers. So we'll just continue, you know. Go ahead, Mafia. Sorry to interrupt.
Hmm?
No, I was just saying, go ahead if you had anything else to say on the fact of, age in relation to sex and sex life or
No, man. Once you live your life, did it. So just do what you do. You understand? And enjoy yourself and make love and live good.
so
And
go ahead. Go ahead, Don Mafia.
nobody have the right to tell you when to stop or what. This is your life.
Neil, I have a question for you. Do you believe long-term couples are having, well, I guess it ties in with the same thing, less sex than before. But would you would you consider it a caveat so long as both partners agree? So let me go back to the first question earlier, Vanille. You weren't here. Now, husband and wife lives together. Is it okay for the wife to just lock shop on the husband? And for our audience who just joined us, we'll ask that question again. Is it okay for the wife or husband to deny each other sex?
Well, I don't think you should, but sometimes circumstances allow you to. Because like I said, if you're turned off emotionally, once you're turned off emotionally, then there is actually, you don't have that drive, but I don't think that because, I don't think that you should deny your partner for sex.
Okay, awesome. So I was just reading an article earlier too. In January of this year, 2020, a study revealed, a study that was carried out by the University of Glasgow revealed that they published it in their journal BMC, Public Health. They're confirming that some of us already know, that sex dwindles in a long-term relationship. These findings are being echoed by research throughout the United States, Australia, Japan, and many other countries. Sexless marriage is no longer a rarity, but increasingly common. But can a relationship really survive without sex? And they're saying the actual answer is a yes. Now, I would beg to differ on the part that they're saying that the longer the relationship, sex dwindles. Not for everybody. So I don't know.
Eh?
Based on what we're
Well, I guess they're going off, like I said, if you go off the medical and scientific information that is out there, um like we discussed earlier, the issues that women go through as they get older, the issues men go through. So I think they're probably doing the study based off that, because maybe some women are having those issues, so they think. And as you see, and it doesn't happen to everybody, it's not everybody, but they're finding that at least maybe 40% of people who get older have a lot of problems with sex and so on. So maybe that's what they're going off.
okay.
But Mhm.
Another question I want to ask you guys. You know how when the woman has a baby and some cultures say it's 6 weeks before you could resume sex? What's your take on that, Don Mafia, as a male?
I mean, man, then from the woman have pick, yeah, you know, have to lower her to get herself back together. Some man just feel like the woman will just have pick and then just jump up on her next day. So have a low the woman to build back, man, and take care of her
And
too, man. You
heal.
know if you want no sex neither. You know if you want no sex, man, you're too damn crazy, man. How you want so boy? Love the woman, man, and nurture the woman, man, and take care of her and the youth, man, and forget about that the part I think, man. You have to just jump down on the woman next day. The woman just have baby. You have to take time with her for sure. I agree with that fully.
But what if
I know say when she ready.
the woman
Eh?
wants to have sex though? What if the woman wants to have sex though before that so-called what would you call that blooding, that 6 weeks thing, that shelter?
The postpartum after. I mean, it's up to her if she wants it and she desires. Some women do because their hormones are, are out of whack at that time. Some women have sex right up until the day they give birth. And if she has a desire for it and the husband is okay with it, it's up to the
Mm.
partner.
Yeah, if she want it, that's all right. But you have some man them not have no sense. Them just feel like say, yo, that's all. Them just a live for so. If the woman not into that, brother, just take your time with her. You know, if you go out there, go look no woman now. Just wait for the girl, man. You know, she said 6 weeks soon done, man. That's what.
Right, that is true. But like,
Cause I
Exactly.
remember say when I have to tell the people, sex is not all in life, man. That wrong with Jamaica and wrong with enough things in our world. All them I think about a sex alone. And that alone run life. What about the other stuff that in life? If you meet somebody, you and them cannot be friends without a sex it need to. You have to just take time and know say sex. Sex is that thing in our life where a good thing, but you see, if too much of one thing, good for nothing. You have to have time for
Exactly.
yourself too.
There's a
And
balance
hold
with
your meds
everything.
to you see me?
right.
Yeah. So I run back at sex every day and boy. Yo, me have to sex. Yo, me have some bridging when more time then turn me after all they act, Because every woman they want. And every fractal they see them go. Me I say them man they not used to woman or what kind of life this? Me don't want to live that way, them man. Me don't want for every woman me see me have to want and me have to mix up my life with everybody. And more time of them think they are your downfall. You see me?
Can I ask a question, Don Mafia? As you have gotten older, has your sexual practices changed in
I don't
terms
know
of
if
frequency? Frequency.
no, you see, I know age have nothing to do with it. You see, from me I grow up, I always have a thing where me respect myself. Like, even though me a man, me not see myself, I just sleep with everybody. So me careful, me choose it. Like me pick and choose who me I go really get intimate with. And that has always been my style. From me a little boy I come up. Even if a girl I try herself, if me not like her, me not feel her, if something about her way turn me off, me nah get into her because my nature work off of my brain, Me not make like my feelings, my emotions, like it have to right, the chemistry have to right. I don't
What about
just
if our
everybody
foot
me I
back?
gonna mix up my life with.
What if
If I
sorry.
put back all them things them I watch too. All them things them I watch. I watch everything. Like you see for me get intimate, all right, from me meet her, me I scrutinize everything right through. Me just a pre every little thing. And then you see, once something there where me sister not right, me can't make it right and pretend like it right, I chew a woman, me I gotta I just to prove to people say, yeah, me can't get enough woman. Cause I have some man, account woman, like them just want every man to feel that them are jealous so them everybody them see them just tear them if they want dog pass now and frack they want. That dirty man them there. Then the man don't respect themselves. You
Let me ask
understand?
you. Let me ask you something else. There was a friend, a male friend, who said he met this really beautiful lady. She was very beautiful, and she had a scarf around her neck. However, they hit it off, and then when he went to her place, she took the scarf off, only to find out that she had a tracheostomy. So she has a hole in her throat. And he said it changed the entire mood. He he made an excuse and said, "Oh, I have to leave because I have to wake up early in the morning." Do you think you as a man, that would affect you as a man if the woman has
I
some
mean,
form of disfigurement or impairment or
of
something?
course. Yeah, of course. I'll make you that something done. Me meet one woman already one time, me I look for you, you know. And she was older than me, but she loved me half, you know. And you know, say, me and her, I roll her one night, me carry her, me and everything, and like me, I rub her down. And me feel a screw in her shoulder, you know. Me nearly dead, you know. And when me ask her, she said she didn't have an accident, and her baby father must be dead in an accident. And it's like an iron in her shoulder, you know. I from that, me couldn't have sex with her again, you know.
Okay.
So with that being said,
And another thing again, if some part of her body falls, that will throw me off too. Cause one time I meet one next woman and she nice and everything, and when me and her ready for have sex, me find out say her breast them a false breast she have it. And them thing that turn me off, me no bother want nothing to that. Cause yo, me can't bother.
The false breasts turn you off. Interesting.
yeah, that's interesting.
No, I know that you it does feel like plastic. Like when me touch it, me feel the difference and me say, oh, it feels so. And then she tell me say, I chant. Me say, yo, me don't know what's that. Me just feel good again. Me just ready for that.
Wow. So
Oh, you
yeah.
see?
Maybe if she did tell me before, I may expect that, but I don't know. I didn't expect it. My Jamaica will live, we're not too used to false breast, you know. I just know them I get hot and hot about them I put in false bottom. To tell you the truth, none of them impress me. I'm not even impressed by tattoo. If a woman have want too much something, them me kind of not feel her. You understand? Because me the man, me more love me natural woman them. Me not even like fully for hairstyle. If you put on too much extra and another one, you know, because me in a dancer, right? I you know, in a, between me and you, I'm not even attracted to like you see girls them when me know in a dancer, like enough of them artists them or whatever, me and them a friend or a dancer girl them. I just my friend them. Because me don't know how they stay already, you know. Say, yo, feel hot, you know. And me can't, it's like that weird, you know, me not feel that weird towards. Because me just know how it's set and so. Me that man, me more like a woman with just cool, like somebody where me can really reason with and somebody with something. We deal with life and more, you know, sensitive. Me can't in a dance hall and in a madness. And then I got a mad somebody like me. How that I go hurt?
Well, I have a question for you, DonMafia and the whole panel. Two questions.
Two,
So,
two mad people.
in addition to what you said earlier, DonMafia, it's let's say you're in a very committed, loyal relationship with your wife, right? And you see these sexy body girls out there, and temptation comes your way. You know, I know you said that if a girl is too easy, you know that turns you off, but you are already in a committed relationship and you see a sexy girl out there who you feel some kind of chemistry. Would you take a one slap?
Mama tell you something. You see how me see myself? If me in a relationship where means something to me, I'm sure say me that means something. It don't matter who come. Me not look on them. Cause, yo, if me have a good woman, you know, me love with me woman. Me love big up me woman, make people see woman that you know. Me not in a no hide and seek thing and I do no other to mess up our head, you know. Because some of them girls they come and show themselves by you, and once you're there with them, then have it in your woman face, to style your woman and mash up your life. So if me have a woman and she means something to me, and me read her and she read me. No matter who come in and a sexy body, me not see that. Because what me have is more than just one night of fun. You understand?
Mm-hmm. So would you have sex with a woman if she's on her period, or what is your take on that?
A mad man and nasty man do that, man. Me nah do them the thing, man. No, nothing like that, man.
I'm putting it out there to the females as well. Would you have sex during your period?
No, not me.
Any man do that, man. Me don't know what kind of heart them have. From woman I see them period, man.
Not
Woman
at
have
all.
to get a break, man. And, you know,
Not at all.
Because
That
that's
can
the
happen.
time when you your body needs to
Cleansing.
cleansing and stuff, you know, so you just got to cleanse, and once you cleanse and finish, then you can go ahead and do that, but not when you on your menstrual. Some people like it, but it doesn't make sense to do it.
Yeah, one man. Hey, one time here, one man said that, say him do that, you know. Me I say, "Koya, what kind of man this? Dirty man, them, no, man. I don't do those stuff, man.
But as we're
I
saying,
really
sex,
not have no heart to do that, man. What kind of man you be, man? You're desperate, man.
you know.
Okay, so Vanille, on the whole topic, what do you have to say? I mean, how long have we been going now? So, Vanille, if you have your husband and he's not able to satisfy you sexually, would you leave him?
No,
What would you do?
I would stay with him. You know,
Okay.
there's other ways to satisfy yourself sexually. It doesn't have to be with, you know, or penetration or, and there's other ways. I wouldn't leave my husband if he cannot satisfy me.
So what advice would you give someone?
That whose husband can't satisfy them sexually?
Mhm.
I mean, it all depends on the person. You know, some can deal with it, some can't. But for me personally, I can deal with it because for me, sex is not all. You know, and I've gone 2 years without having sex. You know, and it's not that I was single. I'm still married, but my husband was away. You know.
And with that being said, too, I like that point. So it's like for people like you who your husband due job description, it takes him away from home. How do you manage? I mean, and I'm putting that out there to the audience. You can comment, like if you have a husband or wife who their job or calls for how do you what your ways of keeping that intimacy alive?
I mean, there's always letters. Well, that was back in the days. You know, there was letters. Now, you know, modern technology, you're able to do WhatsApp. You can have phone sex, can have video chat. You know, you just have to keep that spark going.
I love that phone sex. So many people on here believe in phone sex and long. I mean, how does sex work in a long distance? I mean, do you believe phone sex works? It's uploading on DonMafia.
For me, no. Maybe when I was younger, but now not so much. You know, I think what works is just a little maybe I find like the little sentiments, like the little comments or little text. I find I like that better for me. It's too much work for phone sex.
So, what about sexting?
Yeah, that's fine. But that whole, not for me.
Okay, DonMafia, what is your take on phone sex and sexting?
Everything crack up in them. I hear what you're saying.
What's your take on phone sex?
Phone sex.
Yeah.
Long-term relationship per se.
Why phone sex feels that? I feel say right now, to me see phone sex thing. I waste my time, but me still will talk sexy to me woman, but if the greatest thing I feel there she there and do the real thing. Cause sex thing there right now to WhatsApp I go on to a phone thing. And every call where you make people are record and database and but now turn my business over enough easy,
But
But I depend on thing that too much, isn't it?
You
I'm
just
not fond of those stuff because right, it does, it's like you don't have any privacy anymore. So you way I send text, or when you look, you end up sending text to wrong somebody, or when you look, somehow we come out in a public, or when you look, you all of your business there do.
great point.
Ours like oh yeah, big entertainer, eh?
So, Vanille,
uh,
you mentioned the topic of phone sex. So you find it that it works for you, right, Vanille?
It works for me. It works for me. But one thing I'll never do, I'll never send my husband a nude picture with my face. That is something I would never do.
But you would send him a new picture though, right?
Hmm.
As long as our face not in there, here.
Well, I mean, these are the things that, believe it or not, I'm sure our audience is being edified tonight, entertained, based on this exciting topic, but yet a very important topic. I'm sure you guys learned something or is learning something. Now, Stacy and Megan,
But
Stacy
let
first.
me,
What's your take on phone sex?
let me just say something before.
Sure.
Every relationship is different. So, if you know your partner, you have to do what works for both of you guys.
Mhm.
We can't look at it and say, oh, this is something that I won't do, or this is something that I will do. Whatever work for both of you, well, I said, go ahead, because you have to keep that relationship going. Because me and my husband have been together for 20 years,
Wow.
and we're still going.
Still young and strong.
Really young.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that. That's what I like to hear. I mean, hey, that's how it's supposed to be. But I mean, can everybody manage that? Like Claudine said earlier, some people, as they age, for females, they may not want to have as much sex like when they were young. So I think we have to have understanding partners. That's most important as well. Now, Stacey, and rolling over to you, what do you have to say about phone sex in a relationship?
Well, to married people, yes. If they, just as what Vanille said, you can send your photos without your face. You have to be creative in your marriage, especially when one is on that side, and your work or your ministry take you away from your partner for a while. You have to be very creative. So you can send your text, you can send your parts of whatsoever. You can dance for the person, do whatever you want to do, as two married people. And I said, don't put the face in it. So I think it's okay for married couples. And guess what? Even if he's just gone to work in New Kingston and you live up by Norbrook, no problem. Send him something to let him think about coming home early. Yeah,
So, and one of our audience just
it's
added
okay.
that
It's okay.
he's at 54 age and is married for like 20 years plus, and it's still going strong. So hey, we have some people whose sex life is still firing, still on fire. Now, Megan,
Hmm?
what's your take on phone sex, Megan?
my battery is dying.
Oh, it is? Okay. All right, so I guess we'll pass Megan. And guys, we're about to wrap up. And
Not
Claudia,
hearing not everything is.
can you hear me, Don
Mhm.
Mafia? Can you hear me, Don Mafia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Hello.
Oh, go ahead, Megan. Sure.
Well, I'm not. I used to, but I'm not. I prefer the physical, the touching. the caressing. I'm more like hands-on more than the imagination.
Okay. Okay. That's understandable. Thank you for your input on that. So like I mentioned earlier, we're about to wrap up. I'm sure we've given you all a lot of nuggets, a lot of spicy ideas. I like you what some of the stuff that you said, Vanilla, and Stacy just talk about the dancing. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. So in closing, I'm gonna ask Glodine from a nurse practitioner point of view just to leave a word out here with our audience as it relates to the topic, please.
Okay, so from a medical point of view, um, there is help for women and men who may have medical issues related to sex. Um, but women have to talk about it. A lot of women are shy to discuss these things with their providers, men too. So there is help. If you're having help and it's hindering your sex life or affecting it, there are treatments that can help a lot of women out there. Okay. So seek this treatment and let your doctors know.
Okay, thank you. And yeah, what's your final words before we call it as it relates to our topic? The importance of sex in a relationship, if it's okay to have multiple partners. Your final words, please.
So sex is important in every relationship. It is going to be it's specific and tailored to each partner. You know, what works for one may not work for everybody. So as the pastor said, if you know your partner and you're equally yoked, then you try to accommodate and make the compromises for each other. um Multiple sex partners, I would not recommend that from a medical standpoint. That's not healthy either. STDs, herpes, you name it, all of those. That the whole thing that we spoke about, co-joining with all these other
Yeah,
demons and spirits from other people, and
that
you
is
take
a
on
road
these
problem in our skin.
you take on these things, that become curses in your life later on. So I'm not an
Huh?
advocate for multiple sex partners. So
Nah, you're
just
not, you know,
stay
that's gonna
healthy,
break.
stay happy, and keep your relationship tight.
Awesome. DonMafia. He just got bumped off. I'm sure he's gonna come back on. But Vanille, what do you have for our audience tonight in your final words?
I would say just keep your sex life um, alive. You know, you can, before your boyfriend or husband, fiance leaves for work, you can put like little notes in the car, in his pocket, somewhere where, he'll find it. Don't be afraid to do role play. Don't be afraid to talk about it. Don't be afraid to express your likes and your dislikes. Don't be afraid to ask questions, you know, just do it. Go out and play that adult naked game.
That's
But
right.
Like that.
I am not a believer of multiple partners. No.
Why is that?
Because like I think it was Stacey was saying that you don't know who your partner is sleeping with. You don't know what he's attracting. You don't know what, there's STD, there is, and some of these STDs are life threatening. You just never know. And I don't want that case there in my life or in my house. No, thank you.
Awesome.
Right.
Great point. Okay, so DonMafia's phone is dying. He only has like 1% left on his phone. I really would have loved to hear his vantage point on, closing out. So, guys, there you have it from our panelists this Friday. I'm sure you were entertained, you were edified, and you loved what was going on here. So we just want to thank you again for tuning in every Friday and commenting, leaving your feedbacks. And we've seen a lot here tonight. I couldn't get to all of them. I'm sorry, but we will try our best. So I'm sure we have one of our ladies, Angela, who wasn't, well, never mind. Okay, so Megan, thank you so much for calling into our program. Stacy, and thank you so much for calling into our program. And
You're welcome. It was my pleasure.
Awesome. So what you can do is just to spread the word, let everybody know about Ladies Uplifting and Inspiring. So guys, same place next time. Next Friday.
Bye.
Okay, so we'll see you at the top because the bottom is too crowded. So
Maybe you need to do a part 2.
well, we can do that. How about that, Vanessa? What do you think?
You could do a part 2 looking at other, other issues later
Remember,
on.
no, remember for me, September is out.
Right, that's a great idea. We could come back with part 2, Gloading. Thanks for that as well. Thanks for that idea as well, because I'm sure
Yeah.
a lot more that can be said.
Okay.
I wonder if part 2 my husband can join.
Sure, we would love
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
That would be, yeah, we would love that. You can talk to him about it, convince him. So guys, stay tuned.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Uplifting and inspiring. Like, leave your review, and share with others. Once again, have a great weekend. See you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Look at Pick Me. Oh, you get so much trouble.